Power to the truth. I want to discuss the power of the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. As a humane being, I consider myself a radical. In fact, to me, it is natural that in the context of the world today, that I am a radical. Just as a Christian should be a humane being. A humane being who has pure love, tender care, and genuine compassion should be radical. So, we use the power of the Word to communicate with each other through the written word, the typed word, the spoken word, and we know that the Word is very powerful. Words together in a certain sequence create a sentence. A lot of this seems basic, yet in relation to radical humane beings, we need to study more on the power of the Word and not let our enemies define connected reality for us. We need to define our own connected reality. I'll give you a few examples. Say the word democracy in the context of we want to save democracy from the encroachment of corporate capitalism. Examine that word democracy. It generally means rule by the majority. Yet, in a given situation, what is democracy for the majority could be tyranny for the minority. Many people assume we have a democracy in the USA. We do not. We are living under a mature, fascist, authoritarian state that is ultimately controlled by the corporate capitalist ruling class. So there is no democracy. How can you lose what you don't have? Was there ever a genuine democracy in the USA? I think in the long run we want to have democracy not only in the USA, but a global democracy. Yet that democracy alone is not going to be sufficient. We need to have an intercommunal democracy that takes into consideration the needs and the interests and the demands of the minority. So it is more of a fair society with justice. So we need to examine that word democracy. How can you lose what you do not have? Another big word is nation. We consider that the USA is a nation. It depends upon your definition of nation. To me, a nation must be a sovereign territory, an independent territory that controls the land and all the institutions thereon. Do we have that in the USA? To me, the USA is an internal colony of the evil empire. And yes, it is evil, and yes, it is an empire. Some people are so twisted, they think there isn't even any evil. So we got a lot of educating to do. So there is no nation now. And nowadays, I'm not sure if we'll ever have a nation. I think society has gotten so interconnected, intertwined, and intercommunal that we're going to remain an interconnected global society, especially with the advent of the internet and powers of communication. So talk about a nation is nonsense. So if there are no nations, how can there be internationalism? Now, to lay a claim to nationhood, you have to control the land and all the institutions thereon. You have to have a security apparatus. You got to have an army, a police to defend your borders from outside invasion. So the USA as a country is an internal colony. It's not even a truly self-governing nation. So we need to examine that. So what about all the native tribes that claim nationhood? Is that an illusion? In terms of an actual independent nation, yes it is. It takes more than just a little flag, on the desk at the UN to create a nation. A true nation would control its own territory. So people can argue about that all they want. It doesn't change reality. Calling something different does not change the nature of what it is. Say the term terrorism. When Bush talked about the axis of evil, and he's going to get rid of all the terror in the world, and so he, along with his cabal in the White House, kills 1 million people and wreaks havoc in the world, and comes out, where the U.S. regime is a terrorist state. Yet they call its enemies terrorists. So if we combat terrorism, we actually become counter-terrorists. We're against terror. We're against genocide. We're against evil occupying armies. So you got to examine that word terror. One man's terrorist is another man's counter-terrorist. Say the concept of, or the term left wing, versus right wing, as if the left is all good and the right is all evil. That's an example of political bipolarity, because the truth is in the center. The truth isn't stuck out on one wing or another. The truth is in the center. So even our using the terms left wing and right wing are outdated. They're not even from the last century, they're from the century before. So do your own homework. Google the origin of left wing. So we need to understand these different terms and have common definitions so that we're, talking about the same stuff. I wouldn't even say the same page, because some people, they think they're on the same page, but they're in a totally different library. Think big, think global. So we use the power of the word in order to educate people, to raise consciousness, to express terms of endearment to our loved ones. And we should be conscious of the words that we use, and use words that's going to help create unity, not create division. Right now, we have very little consciousness when it comes to the power of the word. For example, another word, revolution. Okay, remember the Arab Spring. And we had the revolution in Tunisia, then the revolution in Egypt, then the revolution in Libya, and so on. We thought, oh wow, revolution is taking over the world. Not happening. There has been no revolution in those countries. They're still struggling for people power. So now the fascist corporate media, they played all that up. And the so-called left wing, they ate all that up. Revolution there, revolution there. And failing to make distinctions between a revolutionary movement with the potential to bring about an authentic, relevant revolution, between that movement and an actual revolution. Revolution involves a transformation of property relations between the haves and the have-nots. The haves are, let's say through the prism of Occupy Wall Street, the haves are the minus 1% who are on top of the class structure. And the have-nots are the plus 99% who suffer under that class structure as oppressed people, as poor people, as the have-nots. So even there we got to examine that. When the 1% is actually minus 1%. They're a minute portion of the population. but they're in control. And the plus 99% are outnumber the haves. So we have supremely the numerical majority. So what's wrong? You know, we lack and we need good communication skills. We need good organizational skills. We need good survival skills. And we need a whole set of skills to help us combat corporate fascism and educate to liberate the masses of the people. So it's not going to happen overnight. We've got to think in terms of long-term protracted war. Wars of liberation. You know, striving to exhaust all legal, peaceful methods of resistance, but still resisting no matter what. Power to the people. Be able to share this video if you want. Leave comments please below. Give me feedback. And be humane. You know, be motivated and guided by love, not hate. And ultimately it's real simple. We want peace on earth and throughout the whole cosmos. Thank you.